Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ryan Suter. I'm one of the senior investment managers here at Sharewise. We're here with Rob Jorden, the CEO of Rare Foods Australia. Now, Rob's been kind enough this morning to allow us with some time. He's going to give us a presentation, and then he's going to open the floor up to a Q&A. So I've got a couple of questions here, which I'll start Rob off after the presentation. But if any participants throughout the presentation I would like me to ask further questions to Rob, please do so through submitting them through the Q&A function. Rob, it's all yours, and thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan, and thank you very much to Sharewise for inviting us to literally share the Rare Foods story to yours and our shareholders. So I'll just get the presentation up and I'll get going. Ryan, can you, is that all up and working?
Looks brilliant. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, excellent. Well, again, yeah, thank you to you and Sharewise for allowing us to get out there and promote our story. There's one question that's come up over and over again. Why has there been such a significant decline in our share price? I intend to answer that at the end of the presentation before I hand it back to you, Ryan, to go into the other detailed questions. But hopefully the presentation over the next 20-30 minutes will provide some context for that answer. So the usual forward-looking statements here. And for those of you who don't know the Rare Food story, I'll give you a cursory overview of what has been well over a 30-year journey to date. Our founder, Brad Adams, some 30-odd years ago, was confronted with the dwindling stocks of green lip abalone, which was his industry and his passion, and went about ever since looking at innovative ways to replenish that wild fishery. Today, his innovation represents well over 20% of the Australian wild-caught green lip. In fact, if you look at the most recent figures, it's more like 30%. And just to put that into context, wild quotas again across Australia came down 7% last year. So his innovation literally takes a on-land abalone at about the age of 18 months old, puts it on one of these concrete blocks called an habitat, an abalone's habitat, of which there's 10,000 on our reef, made into an artificial reef where they grow out over the next 3 years before we harvest them and sell them worldwide. That innovation a couple of years ago got the MST tick. And for those of you who don't know what the Marine Stewardship Council certification means, it's certified as a wild fishery. In fact, we were the first and still are the only abalone wild fishery. Today, based on both the environment that we work in and the strategic partners that we work in, who are the wild-caught divers and the aquaculture producers, and due to the feedback from our customers, we now offer a premium abalone offering, adding in both the wild origin roe and brown lip and the aquaculture green lip into our portfolio, helping our friends and partners down there process and sell their products, and helping our customers get assurance of supply to a unique premium abalone offering. More recently, we've used our strengths, which I'll build on in the presentation, to bring on ocean cellared wines and ocean cellared products, largely using the ocean to create these. And as I said, I'll build on this transition and the excitement that we have for this additional innovation. So over the next 20 to 30 minutes, I'll take you through our strategy. We set it about 3 years ago. We haven't really changed it. We've just been prosecuting it. I'll go through our performance over the last few years and illustrate how we've literally doubled our products and sales. I'll go through premium abalone. I'll introduce that space and why it's in such high demand, and what we've got access to over the next 12 months. Why we got into ocean cellaring, I'll build on those strengths and outline them for you and take you through the ocean cellared products we have. and the scaling opportunity available to us. How we're showcasing our unique value proposition through our customer experience, and how we literally going to share it with everyone. Probably the most contentious aspect of us as a microcap is our spend on value accretive growth, but I'll go through the detail of it, why it's so important to us, and why it literally will underpin the rapid growth of the company. And then I'll provide you with a bit of summary. So, strategy. We're supplying premium abalone and other rare products globally to become a partner of choice. We're working hard to reduce the cost of our wild-caught greenlip and therefore increase our margins. We're strengthening our business. We're adding in other products. We changed our name a couple of years ago so we could diversify and add revenues from other product streams. And we're integrating those supply chains and looking at others that could add value to us from our pristine southwest of Western Australia. As I said, I'd share with you the performance over the last 3 years. We've doubled our sales volumes and revenues. And in terms of how we fund ourselves, we're well supported by the NAB with asset finance and working capital facilities. So our flagship product, our wild-caught greenlip abalone, why is it such high demand? Well, for those of you who don't know, there's about 250,000 tonnes of abalone produced each year. Primarily, it comes from in-sea aquacultures. It's a highly sought-after Asian delicacy, and in ancient times, it was only available to Asian elite. Today, it is in mass demand, and in-sea aquaculture was created around the turn of the century due to overfishing and warmer waters. The best of the best still comes from the southern oceans. That's the wild origin, the wild caught and wild origin products. So to put those into a bit more detail and illustrative purposes for you, these smaller ones, these are the product of in-sea aquaculture. Size is a function of the environmental conditions that the product's grown in. These get harvested after around about 2 years. Think, domestic hen size egg. These are the on-land product that's derived from the Southern Ocean's waters, grown on land, harvested after about 3 years. Think the size of a tennis ball. The best of the best, the wild origin, of which the greenlip is a standout, grow 5 to 10 years and think the size of a coconut and beyond. Why is the greenlip the best of the best? Simply appearance, taste, and texture. Since the business Rare Foods was started, we started with one customer and have broadened our customers. These are customers who are buying bulk throughout the world. They put forward orders into our book. That creates demand tension, and we've steadily been able to push up our prices over the period. So putting our premium abalone product into sales for you for the following year. In terms of the wild-caught greenlip, the wild origin brownlip roe-eye, and the aquaculture greenlip, we've got the following supply available to us to push to our master distributors. About 85 plus tonnes of our wild-caught, up to 30 tonnes of the wild origin brownlip and roe-eye, and similar amounts with the aquaculture greens. So as I said, our whole sales strategy is through master distributors who look after various regions, wholesalers and retailers, and they put bulk into our forward order books. On top of that, we also have adapted to bring on live. We know that there's a huge demand for live direct to consumer, and we've been, as announced in the last period, we've been bringing on our Perth facility as well as our Augusta facility to start prosecuting that demand. And I would suspect that a large part of the supply that you see here will be going through those channels, especially in the early part of FY25. So Why did we diversify and get into ocean cellaring? Well, we've got some inherent strengths. We've got two fabulous ocean leases, the only two ocean leases in the state that you can put ocean cellared aquaculture product on the ocean floor. We've got dive infrastructure. We've got qualified divers and 4 boats. We've got a pristine harbour with a fantastic state-of-the-art processing facility. And we're next to the world-famous Margaret River wine region. So, look, about 4 years ago, we began trials with ocean cellaring. We took boutique bottles from strategic partners and placed them on the ocean floor to use the pressure, the swell, and the constant temperature to age the wine. We created what we call today an ocean signature bottle. The bottle itself becomes encrusted with barnacles and coral and presents as literally ocean treasure. We've got currently 5,000 bottles in process, a cuvee, a Chardonnay, and a Shiraz, of which about half are available to us. This process is scalable. It's also got scope for other alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. As we investigated ocean cellaring and what was available to us over quite a significant period, we came across a group in the Northern Hemisphere called Wine Reef International. Wine Reef were literally making wine underwater. And we set about putting together a trial with them to take their patented technology and bring it into the Southern Hemisphere for the first time and utilize this to scale up ocean cellaring. The proprietary technology they have is literally putting wine in these 265-litre vats, tethering them to the ocean floor, and taking wine through a secondary fermentation process. So as I've got you all on the screen, these are our actual vats. They're about 20 meters below the surface. Just under this, as long as you can see my cursor, underneath this anchor are the actual anchors. This knot here is the actual anchors. They go about, they're about 2 meters deep. The divers literally had to run around in circles to put them in there whilst using the pressure hose to blow up the sand. They've been anchored in there for some time now. We've had them down since May. It's quite fascinating when we put them down. The vats actually imploded to a certain extent because of the pressure of the water. And this is quite a recent photograph because the secondary fermentation process that's taking place there has literally blown the vats back out. So quite a few swells. The dive team tells me these things have been bouncing around a bit. So the agitation and the fermentation process, yeah, we're pretty excited to see what comes out. Wine Reef themselves produce around about 200,000 bottles, all sold in Europe. As I said, we are joint venturing this trial. We put it down in May. We'll be tasting it September, October, bringing it out in November. We forecast to produce around about 13,000 bottles from the trial for the festive season and Chinese New Year. We'll keep about 3,000 bottles of that for trials with retail chains. We've got a lot of interest in the subsea winemaking story, method, and wine. And again, we'll keep that to furnish the tastings and hopefully the forward orders. This is a very scalable process. Literally, the deployment and the harvesting is the easiest actual element of the process, and the winemaking process or the secondary fermentation process is anywhere between 4 and 6 months. So should we get the forward orders, the process itself is hugely scalable. So about 12 months ago, we opened our retail space down on that pristine harbour that you saw a few slides ago. That whole retail space is to showcase our unique value proposition, our premium abalone products and our ocean cellared products. It's taken a while to get it staffed and look at the traffic that comes in there and how best to orientate its opening times. We've steadily built our revenues to about 180K this year. We think we'll do significantly better. Now we truly understand that customer experience that we want to showcase through tours and tastings, had a lot of feedback and have orientated it accordingly. Also, what are the other products that fit with those tours and tastings, how we can align them, how we can sell them. We also provide a cafe and a licensed cafe service. So now that we've got that that feedback and that understanding in place, plus the premium abalone products, we will be switching on the e-commerce over and above the click and collect that some of you have experienced, and underpinning that with the logistics to get products out to people online. So yeah, it's taken a while to get all of that in place, but yeah, we expect the e-commerce to be online in the first quarter of FY25 this quarter. Probably the most contentious aspect of us as a microcap has been the amount of money that we've spent on value accretive growth. Well, look, I'll be honest with you, I make no apologies. People want us to grow. We want to grow. We have an asset base that we've invested in building, and greater returns will come from putting larger volumes across that asset base. Over the last 2 years alone, we've spent well over $2 million looking at how to control our integrated supply chain. We know there's huge cost savings and synergies by doing that, which will significantly improve our returns. This investment has been on commercial, financial and legal due diligence, along with getting the right people and getting them in place to enable any integration to take place and take place seamlessly. So look, you know, adding it all up, the next investment that we made earlier on in a more liquid market environment was in Esperance. This was our first entree into a greenfield site, building a circa 600-ton on-land farm down in Esperance with partner at the time, Yamba Aquaculture. That was shelved in 2022, largely because of the well-publicized cost blowouts at the time. And instead of you know, throwing that work away, we worked with the local Indigenous Talarak Corporation to turn that option into a strategy for an aquaculture precinct. Now with Talarak, who have acquired the land and the options on the land, we're being put forth as the project leader to go and prosecute this with funding support to federal government for the infrastructure to create an aquaculture precinct. That infrastructure is both the roads and the power, along with the pipes, and also over the next 2 years go and prosecute the opportunity to international aquaculture players to participate in this precinct. What do we get out of it? The very least we'd get out of it is our money back in terms of a lease to create another rare product from the pristine Southwest if we didn't pursue our original plans of a 600-ton farm. So yeah, we're now the project lead in prosecuting this aquaculture precinct with strong support from all stakeholders. So when you add this together with our other work, we've spent, you know, circa $4 million of a microcaps company on how to scale and grow, whilst also investing time and effort in continually improving our first innovation, broadening our premium abalone offering, and bringing on our ocean salad products. So look, in summary, we've created the world's first sustainable wild abalone fishery that produces the most sought after abalone, the wild green lip. it's well over 20% of what's available. And our competitive advantage, we are not curtailed by quota, and our customers, once they're in our forward order book, have the assurance of both the quality, but most importantly at that level, they've got the assurance of supply. We changed our name to diversify and grow other revenue streams to de-risk our business, and we're doing that. We're bringing on our ocean salad products, and all going well. We've brought on one that's hugely scalable. So we're transforming our strategy into reality. As I said, we're broadening that premium abalone range. That was largely from the feedback we were getting from our customers, and also the requests we were getting from our strategic partners in our areas. Can you process, can you sell our products? So it's a super smart arrangement for everybody involved. And we're implementing our ocean salad activities, whilst, as I said, conducting the detail in our due diligence and capability studies to ensure that when we do acquire, that it's value accretive, and we can rapidly scale and grow our operations, revenues and margins. So that's my story to date, Ryan. I might just start with the question that's been asked more often than not since we put forth that we were going to share the story with you, which is why the great slide in our share price, and what are you doing about it? Look, I suppose I'll answer that question first and foremost from a market point of view. When Rare Foods, which was ocean grown abalone when it was listed, it was a very low interest rate environment, and people were looking for the next new big thing. And the innovation was seen as the next new big thing in aquaculture, so there was a lot of interest and support in it. Over the past few years, largely underpinned by a lot of excess spending during the COVID era, inflation's on the rise. In fact, it's probably over the last 4 years, well over 50%. To compensate interest rates, to compensate high inflation, the interest rates are now on the rise, and investors are looking for more safety for their money in an unstable environment. Today's small cap space has been heavily sold down. Now it's very hard to tell you exactly what when, because some of them have gone to the wall. So, but it's well proven that they've been heavily sold down, especially during the last month. Tax losses. I think up to 25% of our trades were in June this year. There's been a huge sell-off in our sector, the industrial sector, and most of the mining stocks. In fact, except gold and uranium, most have struggled. Safety seems to be either in the banks or in the top 50 stocks. The Monash investor that you can go and read for yourself, they quote small cap stocks have underperformed large cap stocks in the past 18 months. High inflation and rising interest rates have weighed on small cap performance. The valuation gap between small and large cap stocks is near a decade high. So, that's the market context for what's taking place. Now I'll give you specifically a Rare Foods context. I'll remind everybody that we are an innovation. All innovations are a process of trial and error. Our profitability is primarily linked to our biomass. And look, I'm one of those investors who, the great indicator that you look at very quickly is profitability. Our profitability in January swung dramatically with a 16% drop in our biomass. But you've got to go back 3.5 years to understand why that drop occurred. That was to curtail spending as COVID started. And that was a very smart strategy at that time. In fact, except for governments, everybody was curtailing spending at that time. So to say at that time that was a bad decision today is easy, but at that time, those were the decisions being made. We have focused on improving our biomass through our deployment of our unmanned juveniles over the last couple of years. And we know for a fact that we've got over 850,000 more animals to come into commercial grade down there than we've ever had before, 27% more than we've ever had before. When will they come into commercial grade? Over the next 9 to 12 months. So you can assume that that will swing back. The other thing that I'll point out in terms of our business is we're in Western Australia. We compete with the highly paying mining industry, and all our costs have risen. In fact, for those of you that don't know, the Busselton region, Busselton Airport, is now very much a fly-in, fly-out airport. So, we're competing with our award wages in the Augusta region to people who can literally do fly-in, fly-out and drive a truck on $160,000 a year. So, we've got that to contend with. For me, we're very focused on our scorecard, and that's what we'd like to be measured on. We're focused on continually improving our inaugural wild caught greenlip that, as I said, represents well over 20% of that space today. And as I pointed out, wild quota keeps being curtailed. It's down another 7% this year. We're adding earnings by including our unique premium abalone offering. As and when we get up and running, those margins will increase. We've spent over $2 million in the last 2 years to undertake commercial, financial and legal due diligence to scale and grow. We've been doing the research to ensure we understand all the risks. And if we press go, we know how to integrate. When the viability stacks up, we'll make our move. And after careful analysis over the last 4 years, we're scaling up our ocean salad products. And as I said, the wine reef trial has all the hallmarks of success. We've still got to wait to see the outcome, but if it does, as I said, it's quite easy to scale. So what am I doing? What's Rare Foods doing? We're out promoting the company, as we believe that all this work will ensure we make more than we spend. And when our scorecard consistently reflects this effort at the current share price, I'd suggest we're very cheap. And I'll leave you again with something that Monash investors presented. The stocks most likely to outperform as the economy improves have characteristics of accelerating sales growth and increasing profit margins. The most likely sectors to find stocks like these are the consumer discretionary industrials. The consumer discretionary sector is one of the largest in the small ords, and its stocks are typically the most volatile each reporting season. The sector has suffered significant margin contraction due to lags in being able to pass on cost inflations to its customers. So, in essence, Ryan, I think that's quite a long explanation or answer to why our share price has slid and what we're doing to curtail it.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation, Rob, and thank you very much for the share price clarification. I'm sure a lot of investors are going to really appreciate the detailed tracking there. Now, we'll open this up to the Q&A. I've got 5 questions here that have been, 4 questions actually, that have been pre-submitted by some participants, and I've got a couple of questions coming in. So if any more participants have further questions, please do so. Now, just to start us off, Rob, why doesn't RFA get workers from Indonesia on 457 visas? Obviously, there are plenty of divers within that region that have experience in planting coral and doing other such aquaculture activities.
Yeah, look, we've got 3 pathways that we recruit divers through, and believe me, we're heavily regulated. We're under the Inshore Dive Award. Our divers have to be AQUES accredited or equivalent. The 3 pathways that we have is, literally recruitment locally, largely from the East Coast. That dried up almost completely during COVID, and we couldn't move interstate anyway. The second was a partner and build our own dive school. And we've spent a lot of time with a group by the name of CDA out of Tasmania. And we, through our strong stakeholder support, have them funded to set up their school in Collie. As a result, we have spots available each year to bring in people from our local region as accredited divers. Now, the one route, in response to your Indonesian question, the one route that we set up was ADAS equivalent divers overseas, the overseas schools. We pull out of Canada, South Africa, France, and the UK. We're able to bring those skilled divers over on a working visa. We set up accommodation routines in our facilities in Augusta. And if we like each other after 6 months, we've also got stakeholder support to help them onto working visas, on permanent visas for the next 3 years. And then they go and find their own accommodation. So those are the channels that we've set up and the paths that we followed, as I said, to align with the accreditation that we're under. Look, it took a bit of time to build it up, but now we're quite proactive and have a pipeline of divers to service our efforts. Probably the one aspect of the work that I've been involved in with Rare Foods that I'm most proud of is our risk management systems. Look, we're putting young men, largely young men, into harm's way day in, day out. So all the mitigating risks all the risks that we can mitigate, we look at, and that accreditation is an important element of being able to start that process.
Of course. And thank you for that one. Now, moving on, it appears at times you're having stocking issues given products on the website appear to be sold out. Now, is this the case, or is this due to high demand?
Look, the website, the store on the website is click and collect. So it's click on and go and collect on site. The canned product, the greenlit canned product, correct, it's out of stock. It won't be reproduced because we've created a new product called Ocean Harvest, which is a canned roe eye product. We harvest through the Wild Origin teams, and the whole in shell product is then sent to the cannery, parboiled, and has created a sensational canned product. It's taken a while to create that, but that will be online shortly. We are adapting all those products under the heading of the customer experience that we want to promote. And e-commerce will be more than just click and collect. It will be available at least countrywide with the ambient products in this first quarter. But those that say they're out of stock are actually out of stock, but the rest is click and collect.
I'll appreciate the update on that one. Now, where does the company see its most significant growth from within the next financial year?
In terms of, I'm assuming that's in terms of overall profitability. Look, I think live abalone is without a shadow of a doubt the one area that we've spent a lot of time and effort over the last 6 months setting up. It's also very good for the cash flow, and we have a unique size that is available to the customers that nobody else has in the wild caught green lip. And as I said, we're not curtailed by quotas, and we can get regular large sizes to customers in the Asian markets. I will point out also, without being cynical or sarcastic, people said, "Oh, why haven't you done this before?" In all reality, these flights from Perth into Asia are only just opening up, literally only 9 months old, some of these, and some of them are less than that. And they've come online, and that's where we'll be pushing a fair bit of our product over the next 12 months. And I'm also quite positive about what will happen with the wine reef trial. So those two things, I think, are big areas for growth. With the wine and the abalone, we also see the opportunity to build a retail product, and we don't have to go very far to do that. We've got the wine, we've got the abalone, and we've got things like the shells, packaging up those for retail product for the festive season, Chinese New Year. Not a great leap of faith. So those are probably the 3 focus areas.
Really appreciate that update. Now, just the last one from me. Have you increased the number of man-made reefs for abalone you grow on, and what was the increase from 12 months ago? No,
and our whole focus, as I've said for the last 12 months in the quarterlies, we got all the data back and looked at the productivity rates down there. the largest impact on our productivity rates, and one of the reasons that we weren't being able to predictably harvest numbers that were originally thought was what's called biofouling, the creation of, that's the corals and the barnacles on those concrete blocks that affect the areas for the abalone to literally attach, survive, and grow. So our whole focus is how do we systematically remove that, and do those actions actually impact survival and growth, until we've got assurance that those things are well understood, and that what we do down there makes a difference. Scaling up the reef doesn't make a great deal of sense. The other aspect of scaling up the reef is we actually need to own this integrated supply chain. There's a bucket load of cost savings and synergies by owning the process that creates the spat through to the juvenile. So all of these things have to be well understood before we spend more money and time on putting more infrastructure down there. Look, indications are, should all of that happen, we can increase that reef. We literally only use 1% of the current lease, so it's not a great leap of faith to create more. So, but the short answer is no, we haven't.
Well, I'm sure the participant that asked that question will appreciate that update. Now, just to a couple of live questions here. What is the source of the wine that goes into the winery vats? Is it local wine, i.e. from WA, or from another close wine region in Australia, or is it imported from a different nation?
The gentleman who runs that function, Simon Hanley, been 25 years in the beverage industry, last was in charge of innovations for Lion Nathan. Direct answer, Margaret River region. That's where we're sourcing our wines. He tasted over 200 wines to choose the red and the white that's down there. One of the divers said, I'd love that job. I did have to remind the diver that he didn't drink the wine, he tasted the wine. And so, I'm not technically that au fait with wines, but basically he was looking for a young, reduced alcohol wine, both red and white, that would be its age would be accelerated through the secondary fermentation process. So, short answer, Margaret River region, a red and a white, and young in terms of aging, and low in terms of alcohol. What comes out the other end is what I'm told is a rapidly aged wine through secondary fermentation.
We'll really appreciate the further details on that one. Now, I think this might be the last question for today. Just moving on. Now, when will the company achieve net positive cash flow from operations, or when you anticipate that the company will achieve positive cash flow?
Oh, look, we could have achieved it now if we hadn't spent money on scale and growth. So I do find this a difficult question to answer. In very simple terms, what we communicate internally is, look, we've got a cost base of 4 million, 100 tons at 60 or 120 tons at 50, somewhere in between that, we wash our face. And that's without our R&D credits and our ocean salad and everything else that can come on. So those are the basic numbers that we work to in order to make more than we spend. But then we're confronted with costs to scale and grow, and you've always got to sit there and make a decision. Is this for the longer term benefit of the company? I think I had one conversation around the financial viability or the financial growth in the last 2 years. It's like, you really can't look at this company over the last 2 years. You've got to look at it broader than that if you want to scale and grow it. And just putting an abalone down on the reef, I've got to wait 3 years for it to come up. So there's a fair bit of unknown in some of the capital spend, but literally we got to be selling between 100, 120 tons, 60 to 50, to be washing our face and making more than we spend. And as I said, that's before all the other add-ons and takes off. So that's what we're focused on. If I stripped away everything that we'd spent on, pursuing growth, we're there already. We got to be there and some more.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I appreciate that update, Rob. Now that finishes everything up. Is there anything you'd like to finish us off with?
No, just thanks to you, Ryan, and thanks to everybody who supports us. It's not an easy ride for anybody, but as I said, I think judge us on the scorecard. That's what we're focused on. We're focused on our greenlip, wild caught greenlip, improving those margins, improving the productive capacity. We're focused on scaling up our ocean cellar activities, adding in our premium abalone, making more money from that, and eventually going after something that really does add value to the micro cap and changes our space.
Well, once again, really appreciate your time, Rob, and thank you very much, Rare Foods, for the opportunity to present with you today. Now, that wraps everything up. This one is being recorded. It'll be placed live on YouTube for participants to watch back later or to share as required. And again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you again, Rob.
Thanks very much, Ryan. Cheers.